பயிற்சி புரியுற மாதிரி இதுதானே இவன் என் ஃப்ரெண்ட் சரத் பாபு.
Yeah, okay, you unmute, please, all of you, please cooperate. Please unmute, mute in your end, sorry, mute in your end, and let us try to proceed now. Okay, so I will take another 10 minutes. Okay, so the robot correct its position by combining its belief before the observation, and during this step, the robot state uncertainty shrinks. Can you see that? There is an initial level of uncertainty like this, the probabilistic distribution. What is this uncertainty clearly tells you?
Sir, please share the screen.
Okay. Sorry. Is it visible now? All right. Visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Good. Yeah, proceed. So now the uncertainty in the sense, initially the robot's belief is like this. So what is the robot believing now? It can be anywhere within this uncertainty domain. Okay, you can see the Gaussian curve there. Okay, it's a probabilistic curve. The robot can be anywhere within this region. And then after the observation, probability of making this observation, it is going to be like this. And then you are fusing these two information and you are getting a much better estimate like this. Now the uncertainty has come down. Okay, so that's the basic idea of a Kalman filter or Bayesian estimation. Now, so these are the steps involved in this particular work. Okay, so then we can think about how we can employ machine learning in robots. I think most of you have some idea about the neural networks. Okay, so how many of you, is there somebody working on neural networks in this group? Is there somebody working neural networks? Okay, look at this. So neural networks basically they stems from an idea called as emulating the human brain. Okay, so emulating the human brain. Think of our human brain. We have millions and millions of cells in our brain. They call it as neuron. Okay, and it receives some external stimuli, and based on the external stimuli, it gives some kind of excitatory signal output or inhibitory signal. The basic idea, excitatory or inhibitory. So in that case, the neuron, it receives external stimuli, and the aggregation of the external stimuli will alter this neuron's state. Okay, how it alters? There will always be a threshold voltage for every neuron. When the aggregated input signal reaches this threshold voltage, okay, what happens? The neuron will either fire or it will give a sleeping. It either sleeps or fires. Okay, the basic idea. All human beings, we have this kind of neurons in our brain, and you know we have billions and billions of neurons in our brain. Billions. Okay, so in that case, these neurons they play an important role when it comes to our intelligence. Now, scientists, in fact, they start off creating an artificial neuron like this. This is a natural neuron, human brain, and they wanted to create an artificial neuron. Artificial neuron works more like this. It's a computing node. Okay, it's more like a computing node. The computing node, imagine it's more like a processor. The processor receives some input signals like x1, x2, x3 like this. Then, like in this case, we aggregate all the signals, separate the sum of it, and then compare it with the threshold. And if the aggregated sum is greater than threshold, the neuron will fire. If the aggregated sum is less than the threshold, the neuron will not fire. It's a very simple idea. Now I would like to create a neuron which can map a given set of input, okay, with one desired output. I want to train a neuron to map a given set of input with a given output. For example, if I provide a cat image to a neuron, the neuron will be in a position to tell it is a cat. I should provide a dog image. The neuron will be in a position to tell it is a dog. So it's called a labeling. Okay, just I want to map the given data to the given output. Now, how can I achieve this? Basically, we have only input data, which we cannot manipulate, and the threshold we are fixing. The only thing that we can manipulate is some external weights. So you can manipulate by introducing a weight, okay, by introducing a weight in the system. Okay, just I'll add one more page. So what happens here? I am just taking the data x1, x2, x3, and then I'm multiplying with some weights like this, and I take the aggregated WIXI, summation of all those. Then I take the comparison with the showed, and I can take my output y. So now what is the advantage? If initially for some initial random weights, if I'm not getting my desired output, what I can do? I can manipulate these weights using an optimization routine. I can manipulate these weights till I get my desired value. I'll be keep updating these weights. Thereby, I can reach my desired value. So once if I can achieve a particular set of weights, which can help me to map the given input-output data, okay, then I can say my network is trained. So if I give a similar set of input data, the network will be in a position to reach some desired value. So that they call it as testing data. The initial data with which you are going to train, that you call it data. And the new data, when it comes, how the neuron is going to react or predict the corresponding output, it's called testing. Okay, these are some machine learning ideas heavily employed nowadays for a lot of robotic applications and other control related applications. Okay, there is one domain called as a deep learning, which is really picking up. Okay, most of you might have heard of this deep learning techniques, wherein you might have heard of convolutional neural network and all. So all these are quite mathematically involved domain. Okay, it's one semester course you can take on deep learning. In one semester course can be, you can teach about ML. Okay, ML can be in one semester course. Okay, so we'll be discussing about it. Maybe if you are interested, maybe I'll take some other class. But right now, let us try to imagine this. Now we are interested in applying this kind of neural networks for robotic applications. So you have three different modes of learning. One you call it as supervised mode of learning. Another one you call it as a reinforcement learning. The third one you call it as the unsupervised learning mode. Okay, so supervised learning mode means for the given problem, the input-output data sets is given. Okay, and you train a network. And in the case of unsupervised mode of learning, there are no labeled data. So it is essential for you to, the network has to identify some clusters in the data. Okay, so that's a very powerful idea, unsupervised mode of learning. And reinforcement learning is another area which is really coming up nowadays. It's more of reward and punishment related work. Okay, wherein you will be fixing the cost function, and the cost function has to be minimized. And for every time when you are going to minimize the cost function, your rewards will be increasing, or otherwise your punishment is going to get increased. Okay, so that kind of a learning, you call it as the reinforcement learning. That's also really coming up. Okay, so let us imagine how we can employ this kind of network for a simple what do you call direct kinematic problem. So direct kinematics, in the case of direct kinematics, what did I say to you? If your joint angles are given to you, okay, the joint angles are given to you, is it possible for you to predict the end effector? So you can do that automatically by taking or collecting a set of joint angles and a set of end effector position, and then you can train a neural network. Okay, for this given angles, joint angles, what are all the corresponding end effector position? You can train this network. Now, what is the use of this model? Once I know this, the power is more like this. What is the network has learned the joint angles and the corresponding end effector position, then naturally the network will be in a position you can control easily. How we can control? Knowing the, for example, I am interested in a particular end effector position. I have trained my network. Knowing the end effector position, then I can find out the joint angles immediately because the network is already been trained. So I can use it for control applications. So it's a very powerful idea. Okay, you can imagine this. I am training my network with the joint angles as input and the end effector position as output. It's a labeled data. The network is trained. Now, the inverse model, what is the inverse model of the neural network? The input is the end effector position, then I can compute the corresponding joint angles immediately. So I can give this joint angles as set point to my controller and I can control my system. So it is called inverse model based control. It's a very important idea in the robotics domain. So use a neural network to train the joint angles and the end effector position and use the inverse of that model for controlling the system. Okay, this kind of ideas are quite prevalent. So we are now entering into something called a second machine age. Okay, it's an wherein there is a dramatic growth of smart machines. Okay, and evidence is everywhere. And unless we train our students in this kind of cutting edge technologies, they will miss out something. Okay, so as a control, most of you are faculties of engineering institutions. Essential for you to get trained up in these kinds of domain like machine learning, artificial intelligence, and all. And you should also learn something called the programming aspect. So I will give you a brief idea about that. Then I wind up with that. So if I okay. So this domain, artificial intelligence. So you can learn something called machine learning. Artificial intelligence, under artificial intelligence, machine learning is one key domain. Then you have fuzzy logics systems, and then evolutionary computations.
Right.
So machine learning, under machine learning, you have deep learning, support vector machines, and all other kinds of decision trees. There are so many other domains branching up. Okay, and fuzzy logic, in fact, can be coupled with neural networks. We call it as neuro-fuzzy systems. And evolutionary computing is another domain where you employ genetic algorithms. Okay, somebody is raising hand. You can talk now, Alex. Yeah, some questions. Alex, who is Alex? So genetic algorithms, particle swarm optimization, and all these other domains you can think of. So, Alexa. Okay. So see, this domain is a very okay. All encompassing domain. Yeah, tell me, Alex. What do you want? Alex, any questions?
Nothing.
Okay. So this is an all-encompassing domain, and there are so many things to learn. Okay, and I'm expecting engineering college faculty members. Okay, we are all one fraternity. Okay, we need to put this extra lot of effort in learning this kind of technologies so that we can impart these ideas to our students because they are going to work in this kind of technological era. Okay, this era demands these kinds of skills, and there are a lot of tools available in the open source called Python-based softwares. In fact, you might have heard of PyTorch, TensorFlow. These are tools available, okay, to work with this kind of technology. Okay, you might have heard of Caffe, Piano. Have you heard of this? NumPy. These are all libraries. NumPy, Pandas. These are all related to Python. These are all open source software. These are open source softwares available, and also you can use MATLAB to train neural networks, genetic algorithm, fuzzy logic, and all. Okay, so with that, in fact, I'll wind up today's session. Okay, we are entering into the fourth industrial revolution, and cyber physical systems is another area really coming up, driven by AI. Robots. Okay? Thank you all for patient listen. Okay, so I'm expecting few questions. Any questions?
Any question from audience?
Yeah, I seen Alex. Allegation. Yeah. Anybody?
Sir, I am from Saraswati College, sir.
Excellent.
Lakshmanan.
Excellent. Yeah, Lakshmanan. Yeah. Good evening, Lakshmanan.
Good evening, Ram Kumar, sir.
Yeah, very nice.
Regarding the artificial agent towards the physical world.
Yeah.
Artificial agent means is it a robot or any neural network?
Artificial,
Whether it can
an
find
intelligent
the
agent,
real,
an intelligent agent.
excuse me, sir, one minute.
Yeah.
You have put that finding the real happiness. Okay, that means a robot cannot identify whether it is a fake or real happiness. How can you achieve this?
Happiness, I didn't tell anything about happiness.
The mood. Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So the robot cannot have consciousness. Okay, that's a question you are raising.
Yes.
Huh? Robot cannot have
Yes, sir.
consciousness. That's it. Right now, whatever technology we have, okay,
Okay.
the technology whatever he have, it's quite clear. The robots can see the world, okay, only in numbers, not like us.
Numbers.
They don't have feelings.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
robots
0, 1,
cannot
0.
have feelings, zero feelings. Primarily, if you look at us, how we are perceiving the environment is completely different from robots. Okay, robots can see the world with only numbers. For example, an image signal can be only numbers. Okay, the robot when it sees the world, it's only numbers. So naturally, only number manipulation is what we are doing now, right now. The kind of technology what we are doing is only number manipulation. There is no consciousness.
The digital number 0 and 1. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
consciousness is not there. We have consciousness,
Yes.
but robots, they don't have happiness or any kind of feelings. They don't have.
But in that slide you have put
Yeah.
how to find a real happiness
I didn't put that. Which slide?
towards a person or any other thing.
No. The robot, sometimes they will lose the path, I said. Okay, for navigating,
Yes,
for
sir.
example, navigating purpose, if it is going in a particular route. Okay, so
Yes,
I have
yes,
given
yes.
a route to the robot. So it has to go like this, and then it has to go like this, and it has to go like this. This is the
Okay,
route I have
sir.
given. Okay, for example, the robot
Yes.
is initially here. It is
Yes,
taking
sir.
a route and it is diverting. If it is diverting, it is not goal oriented.
Okay.
Okay, that's different. So in the algorithm,
Yes.
the robot will be knowing it is not reaching its desired destination. It is not
Yes,
related
yes,
to
sir.
happiness. Okay, it is not goal
Okay,
oriented or it is not utility oriented.
Since you have
Utility
sir,
oriented.
one doubt, sir,
Yeah.
that is regarding the program,
Okay.
the direction to which it has to achieve.
Yeah.
But regarding artificial intelligence, regarding the emotions, it will come to act.
Emotions is
identity
difficult.
is
That's what I'm telling you. Emotions level, we are not in a question because emotions are related to consciousness.
That's why I'm asking, sir. Is it
It
possible?
is not feasible. It is not right now. It is not feasible. Current trend,
Okay.
the current kind of technology, whatever it is we are having now, maybe in another 100 years also, I don't think it is
Okay.
feasible. Okay.
It is not possible. Yeah.
Maybe in another 1,000 years, that is a possibility. We don't know. Okay. Right now, I'm telling. Yeah.
Then we are calling that artificial intelligence, sir. That word, how it comes to that point.
Intelligence
Where
is
is the
different. Sir.
intelligence?
Intelligence, there is a difference. So intelligence is something related to decision making. For example, the robot is right now here, and it can go here or here. It's a decision it is taking.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
how we are
decision
going
making.
to take the decision intelligently? Intelligently means what? With some end effect in mind.
Based on the circumstances.
Based on the final
situation.
Final situation. Yeah, where I want to go. Desired. You are desiring something. Okay. So the
it cannot decide itself. It cannot decide itself.
We have to program.
According to the program and feeding
but
the data.
Some autonomy is there, but it's very minimal.
Minimal.
Okay, very minimal autonomy is there. Okay, that I am very clear. Okay. Good.
Okay.
Very
Thank
good.
you, sir.
Question is good. Excellent question.
Thank you, sir.
Anything else?
Any other questions?
No, sir.
So if there are no other questions, I thank Madhav Sharma for giving me this opportunity to present before a group of faculty members, and I'm very happy interacting with the young.
Dr. Ramkumar, excellent presentation. This is Arumari Varman.
Thank you, Varman. So in fact, this can be taken as a course, 1 semester course we can take, and I just compressed it within a few minutes, in fact 40-50 minutes. So I have not covered much, but I have given a brief overview about this kind of technology.
Excellent presentation, Ramkumar. And why don't you address about the social robot and the conversational AI?
Yeah, that is really coming up. That domain, in fact, the field of processing.
There are a lot of research group is working.
Yeah, that is right.
And in fact, Singapore, they are partially achieving the emotional intelligence. Okay.
So that's very difficult.
And,
Whatever they are showing, it is only again it's programmed. Okay.
No,
Human beings are involved.
it is a program with the specified task.
Yeah, that's right. Specific.
Yeah.
Specified.
Yeah.
It is not
Specific.
generalized.
It is not generalized,
Right?
but
And consciousness
they are
is
trying
something,
to achieve.
yeah.
Yeah.
Consciousness is something, I don't think the technology is mature enough to reach consciousness right now. Okay, maybe 100 years. They are working, but I'm not denying it. But still,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
are in the very, very elementary now.
Yes.
Yeah. Good.
Okay, shall we wind up?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay. Thanks. On behalf of Saraswati College of Engineering, on behalf of Dr. Ramadas Educational Trust, on behalf of Shastra University and AICT Margadarshan Scheme, I personally thank Dr. K. Ramkumar for his excellent presentation. Thank you very much, Ram, for your valuable time spent to give the webinar talk. Thank you very much, one and all.
Thank you.
Thank you. All the participants will get the e-certificate, those who are registered. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Varman.
Thank you. Thank you,
Bye,
Ram.
Varman. Bye, Sharma. Bye, Sharma.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, staff members. Thank you, students. Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.